Is the Lexus IS250 worth buying? I've done over $6,500 in repairs to this car over the course of the last 2.5 years, put a lot of miles on it, and well, here's a little bit of my opinion on the car and why I'm choosing to keep it going forward, and whether or not I think you guys should go out and buy these cars. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. If you guys are new here, make sure to subscribe. I'm gonna run down some quick figures on my Lexus IS250. Let's take a step inside and fire this car up. Now there's a couple bits and pieces that are taken apart in the car. This vent is taken apart because I ended up breaking it. The dash is cracking a little bit, and those are some common concerns and things that go wrong in the cars. We'll touch a little bit on that, but after watching this video, I have full buyer's guides, things that go wrong. If you're really interested in buying one, I'd suggest you watch those as well. I think the best way to talk about the car is to take it out for a little drive. It's been a while since we've done a driving video, so I think this is a good opportunity. If you guys have missed the last video, I ran through just a whole host of things I've done to this car. In the last month or so, the car has been gone. It's been down south, and it got what would be equivalent to $6,000 worth of work to this car. And in the other part of the ownership that I've had, I've done a couple other things like the alternator, headlights, and just regular oil changes. I would say some of the things I did were consumable items, but big majority of them were things that shouldn't have gone wrong. But before we talk about reliability and all the money that I've spent on, I kind of just want to talk about actually driving the car, because that's one of the main reasons why you would want to buy one of these vehicles, is just the enjoyability of driving it. And just to talk about the driving aspect of this car, it's a very comfortable and luxurious driving experience. You know, when you're driving a regular Corolla, Civic, there's a different level of road feel. The IS250 is a little bit more sporty than most Lexus models would be, and it's made to be kind of that more sports sedan. But now that this car's properly dialed in and the CV axles have been changed, which was a huge night and day difference between the driving, the brakes are done properly now, it rides super smooth. And in terms of cabin noise, the car is very quiet. Now, you get a 2.5 liter V6 in the IS250. The motor's fairly quiet, and I was punching it a little bit. People put exhausts on this stuff and whatnot. You know, you get a 3.5 liter in the IS350. Owning the 250, it's a quiet, comfortable, luxurious ride that you would expect from a Lexus. I drove this car almost 2,000 miles in 2 weeks, going from Wisconsin to Tulsa, Oklahoma, and back. I did about 1,000 miles in a single day. My back got a little tired. After about hour 4 or 5, the seats are a little tiresome compared to some of the other cars that I've driven and owned. But just driving it on a daily basis, for like the first hour you're in these seats, there's no complaints. I'm really comfortable sitting in the seat right now. The car is quiet, it's smooth. You don't hear anything that you're not supposed to hear because nothing's going wrong right now. And this might sound a little weird to some people, but just talking about like the chassis and like the build quality of the doors and everything like that, you can feel like a quality behind it, more so you would of like a Prius or a Corolla, or you know, even your Camry. The doors feel light, the handling of the steering wheel might feel a little different, the pedal feels, all of that just like enhanced a little bit, which is exactly what Lexus is supposed to be. Now, to stop talking about the obvious, it is a Lexus. It's supposed to be all of those things I just talked about anyways. I just brought that up because this is the first time that I'm really getting that Lexus feel. When I first bought the car, I got that feeling, and it very quickly went away because the car started having problems. Now, the problems I had, some of them were wear items, some of them were lack of maintenance from the previous owner and possibly how it was kept. Some of the things I just think shouldn't have gone wrong. It's almost 15 years old, over 15 years old at this point, so I can understand some of them. The headlights were the first thing I had to replace. That's an age item, I suppose. The alternator went bad about a year later. Something I didn't really understand why. I guess 15 years or so They do that. At the same time, the water pump went bad. Now, you had to replace the water pump, even though the water pump wasn't bad. I could have went back and sealed it up, because what ended up happening is one of the gaskets burst and it started leaking because of the seals, essentially. The water pump itself wasn't bad. While you're there and spending the money, it's more efficient to replace the water pump, because if that ends up going bad shortly after, I mean, it's something you could have done before. So I'm not sure if that's just because of how the car was kept. Like, maybe it was kept outside, Wisconsin, Illinois, where this car is from, perhaps. The cold temperatures just ended up making that seal brittle and crack. Other things that were kind of just, I guess, age-related items. Everything just kind of stacked up at once. And I let some things run a little bit longer than I should have, but everything kind of happened in the same region. Now, brakes are a wear item. I had to replace the brakes all the way around. I got it at 50,000 miles. It makes sense, but I feel like the car was neglected a little bit, because I had to replace calipers, had to replace a lot of things like the hubs, because the wheel bearings went out, and I think that was just because of improper use of the car, to be honest with you. I think if the previous owner kept up with maintenance or just had better driving habits, that this wouldn't have happened. And that's an extra $500, $400 in parts, not to mention all the labor associated with that. So it adds up very quickly as to how much could have been prevented in terms of maintenance with the car. Now, after watching this video and you still decide to buy IS250, one thing you got to keep in mind is just watch out for things like curb rashes or improper treatment of a vehicle, because sometimes it might add up in the future. Now, to answer the big question of whether I would buy the car again, whether I recommend the car after having all of these problems and issues with it, I would recommend the car. Now, I like to talk about all the issues and all the problems and everything that's gone wrong with my car. So when you're looking to buy an IS250 or whatever car that I am reviewing and owning and giving an ownership experience with, you have all the facts that I have. My point of view is just my point of view. And when I make the video and I give an opinion on whether you should still buy the car or not, I take in mind and keep in mind other people's experiences that I've heard about, read about, or seen. Because when I go out and search for these cars, they have 150, 250, 300, 350,000 miles on them.
And there you have it, guys. I hope that gives you a little bit more information when you're buying the car. I have a ton of other videos on the Lexus, specific things to look out for when buying these cars, but just those are my current opinions. Those are my current things that have gone wrong with it and everything like that. I just wanted to make a little update video that was simple, concise, and just take the car out for a nice little drive. And yeah, if you guys have enjoyed this video, let me know in the comment section down below your opinions on the car, things that have gone wrong, etc., etc. And if you guys have enjoyed, leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.